Hi, we're going to be doing the assembly for the Showcase Pedestal dies. And here's what the dies actually look like. Okay, this makes a wonderful display stand for you to put any of your homemade creations on. So I'll show you one that I've already done. Okay. So this is a display stand. You've got a nice big platform up here, and you can really make the most, display and show off your handmade creations. So if you've got any 3D creations, if you've got any of my projects, for instance, here you'll see on the packaging I've got the 3D snow globe on top of one there. And the thing is, if you've got your creations, say, on a sideboard, you might want some in the back to be elevated, so you can, so you can kind of layer them up and you can, see all of your projects. So that's the idea behind this one. It's to kind of show off your other projects. So to make this Showcase pedestal, the first thing I need to tell you about, as you'll see on the packaging here, it says it's completed with 3 different octagon dies. Now, if you've got our 8x8 nested octagon dies, that means the 3 different ones that you use from this pack, I didn't have to put in this pack, so it keeps the cost of this down. But it's the second release that I've worked with the nested octagon dies. So if you've invested in these, that also means that you can be making the Fabergé egg, the cupcake box, and the 2 different sizes of the stacking octagon boxes. So all of these dies work with the octagon dies, and what that means is we've been able to keep the cost of this down because we haven't had to incorporate these basic shapes into each of these packets. You need the 8-inch, the 6-inch, which they go down in half-inch increments, that 7.5, 7, 6.5, 6. So that's that one. So we've got 2 large ones, and then we've got 3.5-inch, which is a little bit smaller. Now, when you cut those pieces out, I've doubled up each of these. So that's the 6-inch. So I've cut 2 of those and I've stuck them together. Now that's the base because I want it to be nice and firm. Now, when it comes to the 8-inch ones, you want to cut these 4 times, and then you want to glue them together in pairs, so that's nice and stiff. That's a 330 GSM, but because I've stuck 2 together, that's 660, so that's going to be a lovely firm base for my top. Now underneath, you'll see here, this is actually in 2 layers. Now I've actually got a bit of bounce here, so I found a way to actually eliminate that. But what you'll see around here is it's lovely and neat. You can't see any tabs, and the reason for that is that we cut an aperture into our other piece. So this is actually 2 pieces stuck together. So what we've done here, the outside is the 8-inch and the inside is that 3.5-inch we mentioned. Now, to get that perfectly centered, because that's what you want to do, you just take a ruler and you do a very faint line in pencil from point to point all the way around. And then when you center, you'll be able to center your 3.5-inch octagon on there, because, you'll just match up the corners. So as for the pieces that we do have in the pack, if you have a look, it looks like there's 4 pieces, but there's not. There's actually 6 here, because you've got layers. When you cut that, you want to cut that separately, and the same here with this piece. You actually want to cut that separately and then layer it on afterwards. So in this case, this piece, we're layering it on for, because it's to make it more decorative. But with this piece, we're laying this piece on afterwards. I mean, I have added some decorative areas, but we're adding this piece on for strength. So you cut them separately and add them on afterwards. So what you want to do is you want to cut 8 of everything. Then, just this piece only, because this is what I've come up with for the piece to avoid that bounce in the top. You want to cut this piece again another 5 times. Now, if you don't, you can use foam pads instead. But I'm looping this together, and this is actually going to go inside. So inside this piece here, this is going to go in, and this will give us a layer to make it more sturdy. Okay, so you want to cut everything 8 times because the octagons have got 8 sides to them. But then if you wish to use this for firming up your, you know, kind of the platform, I guess, you want to cut this one another 5 times. Okay, so once you've cut those, I went ahead and I've actually glued this piece on, you know, the decorative piece. So I've glued that on, and I'm folding, or I have folded along all of the score lines. So this is the middle piece. So, and it doesn't really matter what way you fold your score lines, because once you've kind of broken those fibres, if it's the wrong way, you can just fold it the other way. So it doesn't really matter which way you fold them to start off with. You just want to fold along all of the score lines. Okay, so here's the piece here where I mentioned we're going to add this on top to add some strength. And like I say, it's got some decoration as well, because we put some piercing detail. Now I've actually based this design on, I found this beautiful glass antique side table come plant stand, and that's what it's actually based on. Okay, so now I've glued that piece on. I've folded along all of my score lines. Now what I've gone ahead and done is I've actually stuck 7, because there's 8 sides. I've actually stuck 7 of each section of the pedestal together. So how it goes like this. This is the order they go in. Now that bit actually goes upside down. Okay, so that's actually how it connects together. So this one is the top piece. So I'm going to go ahead and add this last section in. Now you can, it takes, you know, a while longer to use wet glue. It gives you that wiggle room, but it does take a little bit longer to put it together. So I've gone ahead and glued most of the pieces together. But you can use red liner tape if you wish. Now when I put these together, I'm going to be making sure that they're right on the fold line. I don't want to be one side or the other. I don't want to be over it, but I don't want to have the fold line kind of exposed either, because I want to make sure that it fits where it should. So once you have the lowest tab in place, you just work your way up. Okay, so that's done. So I'll set that aside and then work on the next piece. So the next piece I'm going to do is, this is the channel that goes between the two layers here and here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, we've got 7. So I just need to, this one's ever so easy. Okay, so there we have it. That's our edge for our tabletop, or our pedestal top. With this one, I'm going to glue it in the middle first. Okay, so that's our middle section put together. Moving on to our bottom section. So I'm going to start from this bottom tab. Okay, so that's our bottom piece. So we've got all our pieces ready to go. Okay, so we're going to put our top together last. So we'll put the central piece together. Now it's these 3 pieces, like I say. Now this is the central piece, so the tabs on here on both ends actually tuck inside the piece above and below it. So I'll start with that. Now, if I remember rightly, if you look at it, one section is kind of longer than the other one, and that's the one you want to be uppermost, is the longer section. So the shorter section you want to be lower. Now this piece is the top, so you want the longer section facing this piece, and you want the shorter section facing the larger stand, the base. Okay, so I'm just going to put the glue on. Normally I do like to anchor what I'm doing in one spot, but in this case, because I can actually bend them all in, it shouldn't get messy. Okay, so we're going to do the same now with the other side, with down here. I'm just going to make sure, yeah, we've got a really good fit there as well. That's all good. So I'm going to do the same here, and I'm going to glue all of them at the same time and push them in. Okay, so I'm going to do the same again. I'm going to go round and just press between my fingers, the ones that are inside and the ones that are outside. Just add a little bit of pressure, slide it into place. Okay, so we've got the three central pieces put together now, so we need to put our lid on. Okay, so we're going to be doing similar here. So the pieces actually go inside our little aperture, and they glue on the inside. Okay. So bend all of these outwards. What I could do actually is push down on my desk, push round on each one, make sure they all get securely glued. Sorry you can't see that, but I'm just pushing down on each one as I go round to try and make sure that they take hold, which they do seem to be doing. Okay, let's have a look. That's looking great. Okay. Now the way the rest of the top goes on, this goes around the edge, and then this piece goes on the top, sandwiches between it. There. But what I'm going to do, so I'm going to bring in this piece that we discussed earlier, where you cut 5 of these extra pieces. Now ordinarily when you put these together, the tabs will go on the inside like that, so you get the smooth edge on the outside. But with this, I want to glue it on the outside because I want to make sure that I've got clearance around that aperture. So I'm just going to add some glue to one side. And the position isn't important. We're just adding a bit of stability to the, we're just trying to remove that bounce between the two layers at the top. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip that over, because whenever you can use a bit of weight to push down on something, so I'm just going around and pushing down on it like that. Just gently, just while the glue takes hold. Because otherwise, in between those two layers, it's completely hollow. And we're just sturdying it up a bit. Okay, I'm going to set that aside. Just let that fully take hold. And I'm going to glue this to the underside of our top. I feel like I want to anchor it on one point. Okay, let's try this out. Yeah, so I can see that that's going to be touching, so I can put glue on that middle side as well, and it's not protruding or anything, which is good. I am actually going to bend these slightly upwards, because if they're kind of folded underneath, when the top goes on, the glue won't be touching. So if I bend them up just a little bit, when the top goes on, I'll be pushing against them, and that will help the glue to take hold. So I'm just making sure my corners are all lined up. And then I'll just smooth it around. Okay, while it's upside down like this, we'll pop our base on. And again, I'm bending these upwards. Okay, there's a section here that looks like it needs a little bit more glue. What I'm going to do, I'm just taking a little piece of cardstock, putting some glue on it. So I've just put some glue on a piece of cardstock because I can't get my fingers in there and I can't really get the nozzle on my bottle in there. So I'm just sliding the piece of cardstock in. And then touching it. And then okay, so that's finished now. So here are two different pedestals in two different colours. So this one's done in ivory, and this one's done in a pearlescent charcoal. But also what you can do is you can do them like if you were going to make one to stand your Fabergé egg on, you might want to do it in metallic gold. You might want to do it in mirror card. What you might want to do is take some texture paste or something like that and go over it, you know, sponge it on, make it look like give it like a stone effect, you know, like it's a stand in a, you know, one of those stands in your garden that you would see at a garden centre or something like that. You might want to be trailing some flowers down it. So just because it's a stand doesn't mean that you can't get decorative with it. But that's the basic project, undecorated, and it's still a lovely platform for displaying your lovely handmade creations. You know, put them on display, really showcase them. You know, if you spent a lot of time and effort in making your, you know, your project, that special project that you're absolutely in love with. It might be your lantern luminaire, it might be your snow globe, it might be a bird cage, you know, whatever it is. Get it on a pedestal, put it up there on display and let everyone see it. And then when they compliment you on it, you can say, I made that. And you're really making a showcase of it. And the thing is as well, is if you have a row of these, you can have some on top or you can have some in front, and then you've kind of got like a tiered, you know, system to kind of display them off, because if they're all on the same level, you can't see them. So, and obviously you can rotate them then. So, you know, I can imagine lots of different ways that you might want to use these or decorate them and have them looking. But I really hope that you find that this helps you, you know, make even more of those projects that you've made and you love.